Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel. And while you're with us, please take a moment to subscribe below and don't forget to hit that bell symbol to receive notifications. This essay will examine some of the key issues around the mass people movement from the poor and often overpopulated Third World to the First World nations of North America and Europe. What are the real push factors driving this people movement and how can it be explained and understood? Similarly, what role do pull factors have, and are these pull factors natural and organic or purely artificial and political? Claims of overpopulation or increasing overpopulation in the poorest areas of Africa and the subcontinent, among other areas, are often cited as possible push factor causes. The overpopulation is certainly true, but does it meaningfully or even minimally feed into the people movement equation? Typically, when overpopulation occurs, it is usually the most literate and educated folks with transportable skills who become migrants, pursuing quality of life objectives. Yet in this era today of mass people movement, it is not the best and the brightest making the journey, but rather legions of dirt-poor rural peasants, illiterate even in their own language, who've never seen electric lights, running water or a flushing toilet, other than in movies or on TV, and who may never have travelled more than 10 kilometres from the village of their ancestors. They are totally indolent and without the capacity for initiative. But suddenly, we are told, quite spontaneously, they all get up and decide to travel thousands of kilometres to another totally alien environment. There's clearly something wrong with this picture. It just isn't believable. To such peasant people, the family and the village are everything. It's all they have, and trying to get them to move to even a city in their own region, a city with the same language, customs and habits, is a very big ask. If they even make it to the nearest local city or large town, they frequently get homesick and so just disappear on a whim from any casual employment or arrangement they may have and go back to the village for indefinite periods, which makes them itinerant at best. Moreover, when such people do move around, they rarely, if ever, travel singly. It is accepted practice to take family members along with them, such as brothers, cousins, second cousins, third cousins, uncles and so on. They travel in groups. The tribal family group identity is very strong with these people. So for those orchestrating the people moving and the people smuggling, it can't be easy to get a group of 10 or 20 people from an African tribal village to move to another nearby region, let alone a far distant place in another continent. These people are not even looking for work or particularly wanting work, even in their own backyard, and they're certainly not the triple PhD astrophysicists in the propaganda we hear about so often. What they are amenable to is that luxurious Western lifestyle of soap operas they see on the One Village satellite TV. At best, many of these folks have had 2 years of sporadic schooling, and even that in a rural one-class-fits-all-ages schoolroom with an entry-level female teacher who may only have had 4 years schooling herself, and most of that ideological. As leftist NGOs often pay for part or all of the teachers' wages, education is frequently corrupted or turned into an illicit conduit for feminist Marxist propaganda. So this education focuses quite minimally on reading and writing and arithmetic, and instead taking every opportunity to denounce the evil patriarchy. So boys disproportionately drop out of this nonsense. We have an image, and one cultivated by the globalist propaganda media, that people movement is driven by refugees displaced by various wars or famines. They supposedly live in unusually squalid conditions in UN or NGO-administered refugee camps, and it is only moral, they tell us, to relocate these unfortunate people not to the nearest safe country or region, where they may have some cultural affinity, but to move them exclusively to the wealthy welfare states of the West. That's what we're told anyway. Invented propaganda poster children such as little Magumbo, who walks 100 miles a day in his bare feet to school because he dreams of being an astronaut, is patent, arrant propaganda nonsense. The real push factors and general causation do not fit nicely into globalist propaganda narratives. A village may not have running water or flushing toilets, but they do have satellite TV. Satellite TV in remote African villages is a reasonably recent phenomenon, say over the last 20 years. They avidly watch Western soap operas but cannot distinguish between fact and fiction, so as far as they are concerned, Western soap operas are lifestyle documentaries, and think that 1980s TV show in America, Dallas. What they are seeing, or what they see rather, is a seemingly endless supply of simple, childlike, devious, brat-like people in these soap operas who never seem to work, yet live in magnificent houses, drive big swanky cars that never need fuel. They have inexhaustible amounts of money to spend and lots of steamy horizontal coupling with hot blonde white chicks. The soap opera characters are no better than us, the African villagers deem. They always seem to be sitting idly around, consumed with petty squabbles and backbiting. So why don't we go there to the West and get our hands on some of this limitless plenty? This is a powerful, alluring dream for simple, childlike, low IQ people who have no actual concept of work, responsibility, paying off loans. They have none of this, no concept of this in their lives. Tomorrow and a week is eternity away. Another, and by far the largest factor in causing people movement, are the armies of Western activists around not only refugee camps, but the myriad activist aid workers who swarm all over the poorer regions of Africa and elsewhere. These so-called aid workers are nothing less than salesman spruikers, encouraging and organising illegal migration and to logistically facilitate that illegal migration. The UN and NGO activists tell these African tribespeople that the West is only rich because the whites stole all the black people's money. That's why you're poor, because the whites stole everything. So you have a right to go to the white countries and take back what is yours. They are additionally told that if they get to the white countries, they will be given free everything. Free house, free phone, free food, free clothes, free education. They are also told NGO ships will ferry them to the European mainland. These Africans were also introduced to NGO transport networks and to people smuggler rings, all working within this wider NGO charity network. These Africans making the journey are given maps and given information about stop-off and rest points on the journey along the way to the North African ports. They are provided with maps where food, drink and clothes will be provided. Once you get to Europe, you can bring all your relatives into Europe, and they too can have free everything, they are told. The good people of Europe want you to come in your millions, only the bad white people don't like it or might question it, and we call them Nazi fascist bigots. So repeat this chant after me: Nazi racist fascist bigot. We will need you to come into the street one day and shout those words in a loud voice. See you in Berlin or London next week. Bon voyage, and remember everybody, you are entitled. Most, if not all, illegal migrants have been put up to it by the NGOs and materially and illegally assisted by those NGOs and other activist organisations, including the United Nations. They would not dream of undertaking this journey in the first place. Even if so inclined, they could not afford it without major logistical support. The people movement wave of this era is a globalist scam, undoubtedly with the quiet and covert support of the very Western governments that pretend to tut-tut about it all, but in the end do nothing to stop it. You've been with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.